Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ blessed. This is Captain Ezra.
Shalom, Israel. Officer Homicide here.
And this is 15 Minutes with the Captains, where we just try to go over quick topics with you just to keep you in the spirit. So real quick, I got a topic for us I want to go into, and the title of it is In the Works. In the Works. The title is In the Works, because I couldn't come up with a title, so it's In the Works. So real quick, I just want to deal with the order and structure, because that's what the Most High deals with. He deals with order, he deals with structure and everything. So real quick, let's go to Genesis 2:7.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2 and verse 7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Come on.
And the man became a living soul. And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is present to the sight.
Okay. So the point what I want to get to is the Most High made man, he made a garden, and then he put man in that garden. He gave that garden to man. Genesis 2:16, drop down.
Verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die.
Okay. So he gave him the garden, gave him everything in the garden, and gave him an understanding on how to deal with the garden. Come on.
Verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him.
So Adam was given the land, he was given the garden, right? He was given a job to do. He had work. He wasn't just given land and given his garden and he was able to sit around. He was given instruction on how to deal with that land and then what to do and how to do it. And he did it. He was doing his job. He was given work. Come on.
Verse 21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
So the Most High saw that Adam was alone, and he made him a woman. He made him a woman. Woman was made for him. Structure, order. 1 Corinthians 11:7-8, real quick.
This book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 7. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
So the woman was created for him. So far, all of these things that have been created for him. He's been given something to do. He's been given a job to do. Right? Let's do some more. Let's go back to Genesis 2, and we're going to read 4 and 5.
This book of Genesis, chapter 2, and verse 4. These are the generations of heaven and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground.
So when he first created all of these things, he didn't have a man to till the ground. Let's look up till. Let's see what that is.
Till, prepare and cultivate the land for crops.
So he needed somebody to cultivate that land. And he created Adam. He gave him a job to what? To cultivate, to till that land, right? So Adam was given a job. So now, let's go to, read on. Let's read on.
Verse 6. But there went up a mist from the earth.
Matter of fact, let me skip. So, no, let's get past that. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Watch this. So we already see that Adam got a job. When he was created with work to do, right? But through the punishments that we're about to read is what you're going to see what Eve's job is. Come on. So I want 2 and start at verse 9. 3 and 9, I'm sorry.
This book of Genesis chapter 3 and verse 9.
And we're going to skip. Go ahead.
And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou?
So he's calling, he's looking for them, looking for Adam, and he's looking for Eve. Either, where are you? Skip down to 12.
Verse 12. And the man said, The woman who thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
So basically, he's blaming the Most High for him following the woman, which, brothers, we got to be in order. Accountability 101, brothers. Come on. But he's pointing the finger at the Most High for this. But we're going to get down to these punishments. Go straight down to, let's go to 15. Let's go straight there.
Verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Mm-hmm. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Did you see her job? Adam got a job, and in his punishment, which we're going to get to that part, but you can see in Eve's punishment what her job was. She had 2 jobs: bring forth children, follow your husband. This was her biblical job. You can see it through the punishments. Like, watch this. Let me go back and read from verse 14.
Verse 14. And the Lord God said...
No, 17. Yeah, jump down to 17.
Verse 17.
Now we're going to see through Adam's punishment, and we're going to see what his job was.
And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
So what was his job? His job was, remember, tilling the ground. He's like, I'm going to make your job harder now. Now your job is going to be more difficult. Same thing he did with Eve. He said, now your job is going to be more difficult. It's going to be more difficult for you bringing forth these children. Now it's going to be more difficult for you dealing with your husband. Because these are your jobs. Those are your biblical stations. That's where he put us. So watch this. Let's skip. Let's go to 1 Timothy 5 and 8. Let's see some more of these jobs. Because in here you see, again, more detail about these positions that we were given.
This is the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
So he's letting you know, just like with Adam, it was your job to go out and work those fields and do what? Provide. To provide. That's your job. That's your job as a man. You must provide for your family. So, and in that, remember with that punishment, it was going to become more difficult. And now he says, and if you do not do it, you are worse than an infidel. But read on. Let's see about the woman's side, about her job.
Verse 9. Let not a widow be taken into the number under 80 years old, having been the wife of one man, well reported of for good works. If she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet, if she have relieved the afflicted, if she have diligently followed every good work. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Christ, they will marry.
So wait a minute. How is that off? Remember, her job was to do what? Bring forth children, serve her husband. The good women, it said, that's why you're reading, it says, for good, well reported of for good works. Meaning, and then what was it? If she have brought up children, she's lodged strangers, she's washed the saints' feet. These are the washing the saints, that's serving her husband. That's her husband's house. When somebody comes and she's showing hospitality to those people, she's serving her husband. When she's bringing forth children, she's serving her husband. And if she does not do these things, guess what it makes her? An infidel. Just like with him. It's the same thing. She's in unbelief because she is not doing her biblical work. She's not doing the job that was outlined for her. And that's how the Most High set it up. Just like the man, he had to cultivate that ground, right? Look up heritage. Let's see this. Let's see heritage.
Heritage. Property that is or may be inherited, or an inheritance.
So property that may be inherited. He inherited the garden. He inherited the Garden of Eden. He inherited that, right? And then what did he have to do? Did he just take it and that was it? No. He was given a job in that garden. He had to cultivate that land. He had to till that ground, right? Okay. Same thing with the woman. She was given what? She was given a child. That child must what? Be cultivated. It must be tilled. You have to take care of that child. That's going into Titus 2. You have a job to do. You don't just show up to just be here. The Most High didn't create us to just sit around and do nothing. He gives us jobs. We have something to do. Go to Exodus 6 and 6. Watch this. Let's see if I'm just making that up. Let's see if that's actually in the scriptures.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 6 and verse 6. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians.
Come on.
And I will bring you in unto the land, concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it to you for an heritage.
You'll give it to you for what?
For an heritage. I am the Lord.
The Lord gave us the land as a heritage. Watch this. Let's get, what do I want? Psalms 127 and 1. Let's get that. Let's see about other heritages that was given. A heritage is an inheritance, right? So let's see. Psalms 127 and read from verse 1.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 127 and verse 1. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman waketh but in vain. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrow, for so he giveth his beloved sleep.
Watch this.
Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord.
What are children?
Are an heritage to the Lord. And the fruit of the womb is his reward.
So wait a minute. Remember, he just said above, it says, it is in vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for he giveth his beloved sleep. And then in verse 1 it said, except the Lord built the house, they labor in vain that build it. Then it goes down to verse 3 and it says, well, children are a heritage, right? It's the same thing like with your land. In vain do you go out and till the ground and try to cultivate it. And guess what? In vain do you have sex. In vain do you go and lay with a woman, because the reward is the children. That's the reward. That's the heritage. So you got people that just run around and want to have sex, and then they go and they have an abortion, or they do whatever they do. And it's like, well, that was all in vain. You didn't get the heritage part. He gave you a job. It's something to cultivate from that, right? So that's all I want on that. So the point is he gave a heritage to that man, and he gave a heritage to that woman. And he gave jobs for us to deal with those heritages that he gave us. Go back to 1 Timothy. Watch this. I think I just made up a word, heritages. I had to look it up. But 1 Timothy 5. Let's go back there. And then let's read from verse 14.
This book of 1 Timothy, chapter 5 and verse 14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully.
So wait a minute. He says that the younger woman should marry, but you look at the way the world operates today, the younger women do not want to marry. While they're young, they want to go to college. They want to have hot girl summer. They want to go out and do them. They want to build. They want to get their career started. But that's not the way the Most High had it set up. You young women are supposed to go out and bear children and marry. I said that in reverse order. Let me say it right. Married and bear children, because y'all already bearing children and not married. No. You got to do it the right way. Marry and bear children. But a lot of y'all saying, well, I'm too young. I want to wait. That's not scriptural. That's not biblical. Brothers, same flip the coin for them. You're an infidel if you're not putting yourself in a position to provide for a family. If you're not positioning yourself to till that ground, to work that land, to go out there and make whatever you need to make to be able to provide for a family, you are walking in the steps of an infidel. Brothers, fix this stuff. Sisters, fix this stuff. Let's jump up to verse 11.
Verse 11. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against Christ, they will marry.
So now, you see what was even happening? They said them younger women refusing to marry. When they want to wax old, then it's like, all right, then I can go get a husband. You know, I done had my hot girl summers and all. No. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Come on.
Verse 12. Having damnation, because they have cast off their first faith. Mm-hmm. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house. And not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
And we see that same thing today. When these women do not have that man over them to guide them, this is how they move around. This is how they operate. When you see brothers not moving in the structure of the Most High, they in these streets, they in the clubs, they out smoking weed, they out being whoremongers. We got to get back to our biblical jobs. That's why we call this in the works, because we've got work to do. We're not just here to float around and just drift and do what we want to do and be the walking dead. No, we have work to do. So I'm going to get ready to end this, but let's get Sirach 36:24.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest.
Come on.
Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, and he that have no wife will wander up and down mourning.
So, when a man gets a wife, he begins a possession. He's starting. It's a beginning of having that possession, which will be that wife. And then that woman, when you don't have that husband, you have no hedge. You have no hedge. Let's look up hedge. Let's see what a hedge is.
Definition of hedge: protect oneself against loss by making balancing or compensating transactions.
Let's look at the synonyms. Let's see those.
Safeguard, protect, shield, guard, cushion, cover, ensure.
So, sisters, when you do not have a husband, you have no safeguard. You have no one to protect you. You have nobody to shield you. You are out here without protection. And that's not the way the Most High set it up. You're always supposed to have a man over you to protect you, to be your safeguard, to be your shield. Brothers, you're going to walk around mourning when you don't have a wife. And you don't have a wife not because it's not a woman interested in you. You're probably not walking in your biblical order, doing your biblical job. Get to your work. Get to your work, brothers. So with that, I'm going to end this, and we're going to say shalom.
Shalom.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.